I used to tell my mum, like, go out, do this, do that, like trying to gas her to do something apart from like looking after us. And she was like, no, you lot are you lot are my family. Like, I don't need a man. You're like my man, kind of thing. Like, so that was for me. My family was the first community, and it will always be like my number one community.
Saadadeen
Sulaiman,
how was your week, bro?
got to go down to London for the Little Smiles charity finale dinner. So, as Cambridge Sudanese Society, a society that we started the start of this academic year. So that's me, Rehab, Sulaiman, Yassine, Mohamed. We got awarded best newcomer society.
Jeez.
So, and this is part of a wider campaign that raised £100,000 for Sudanese orphans.
Amazing.
And so it was really nice for two reasons. One, we got to be a very small part of a great UK-wide effort, and seeing what like university societies can do when they come together. And also we got to experience it as a committee, just being around friends in that room and on the table. It was really nice, man. How's your week, bro?
My week was good. I've got like one more week of term, essentially, for me. Most people have finished all of their studies, but I've got one more essay to hand in. My essay this week is on popular culture in American history. So I'm looking at how ethnic minorities used popular culture to express their political opinions. Like when I say popular culture, I'm talking about music, I'm talking about sport, etc. And I wanted to share a little kind of story that I kind of picked up during my...
I love
this.
this.
Go on, son. Go on.
I made a few notes in it, but like, okay, so essentially, are you lot familiar with the 1968 Mexico City Olympics when the two black athletes put their hands up and like with their fists raised in the sky? The Black Power salute, essentially. So I was doing a bit of digging, I was doing a bit of research, and I found out that essentially, so the name of the two athletes was Tommy Smith and John Carlos, but people often forget the person who came second. So the person who came second was a man from Australia. It was a white man from Australia, and his name was Peter Norman. And the amazing thing about Peter Norman is that he was the man that actually gave the other two athletes the black gloves to wear, and he was the one that encouraged them to make the political stance. And a lot of people don't know that.
What's his name again?
Peter Norman.
Hold tight, Peter Norman.
Hold tight, Peter Norman. And
100%.
yeah, it was crazy, and I found it really inspiring because I'm always inspired by people that are unsung heroes, people that don't get talked about, where the light's not really shed on them. And it was crazy because he essentially got ostracized by the entire Australian sports kind of agencies and like the government, etc. He wasn't allowed to participate in the next game because he collaborated with the two black athletes. And in 2000, so only like 20 years ago, he wasn't allowed to march at the Sydney Olympics because of his allegiance with the two civil rights activists. And he could have easily like just condemned their actions, and he would have been blessed. But he chose not to condemn their actions and like stand strong. And I was like, yeah, man, big up Peter Norman. You know, that's why I study history, bro. Like stories like that, they just, you know what I mean? They give me a lot of energy.
Damn.
But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was mad inspiring.
Thank you for sharing. So we got a very special individual in the room today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Mohamed, and I'm very grateful, mad humbled to be here right now. Nicest thing that's happened this week. So we were talking about shout out Fizzer for basically organizing for me and some colleagues to go to a RADA course. So RADA, for those who don't know, is the Royal Academy for Dramatic Arts, I think. Basically the best dramatic arts, drama, whatever school in the world. We went there and it was called Personal Impact Training. Essentially, how can you effectively communicate in the best way you can? How can you be that voice, and how could you deliver basically impact, personal to you but also to other people? And I was thinking I was going to go in there, they're going to tell me become a tree, become a table, like do these songs and dances and whatever, but no, it was actually like, it was really beneficial.
What are some practical tips you took away from that that seminar
The seminar.
at the drama school? Like, what are some
Yeah.
practical tips you can give me and Saadadeen and the rest of the listeners?
So he gave us a bunch of techniques. I've actually got a leaflet in my bag still.
Hey.
I can
Okay.
share with you guys.
Okay.
Oh.
But like for me, so one of the first exercises he made us do was introduce ourselves to the room and to him. So I got up and I was just like, "Hi, my name's Mohamed," and looking around like everywhere. At the same time, like I thought that's how you give eye contact, kind of stuff. And then he basically took me out of the room, made everyone stay in the room, and he told me, "Listen, I'm gonna give you just one technique and try it out. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna make you do it again, basically." And he literally just told me, every breath is a thought. So, hi, my name is Mohamed. One thought. You breathe, and then your next thought comes out. But the way you move your eyes around the room is you start always at the center. You start at the center. So, hi, my name is Mohamed. And today, I want to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. So that's how it was. Another thing that stuck out to me, some of us came late in the morning. Like, not that late, but still late. And he was talking to us about the discipline of being early, and how he was like, if it was drilled into me when I was in studying to be an artist or whatever he was saying, if you come, like, even if it's 2 minutes late or 3 minutes late or whatever, the cast can't start until everyone's there. They can't do preparations before that until everyone's there. So like literally it's not, oh, you're 5 minutes late. It's the whole thing doesn't move until you're there. So it's not thinking just about you. It's like a collective thing.
It reminds me of the concept of having an accountability partner, and how if you tell your friend, let's wake up 5 a.m. every day, but if you do it together, you're way more likely to do it than if only one of you does it, because
100%.
you know what I mean, you have a friend that you need to make sure you kind of help, you know what I mean, and you've kind of signed this social contract with them, so you need to make sure that you fulfill those
Trust me.
pledges.
We like to start at the start here at After Work. So tell us about some of your earliest memories, man.
So I'm the eldest of 5 kids, born in London, but I would move from London to Saudi every like 6 months. So that happened until I was like 4 or 5 years old, and then I came and stayed here like permanently. Then when we came here, things kind of got a little bit sticky. So like obviously I was young, I didn't really understand everything, but for various reasons, my mum and dad basically got divorced. And it was like a very messy situation at the time. So I was like 5 years old, going to and from court all the time. I remember like there was a moment where it was me, my mum, my siblings, so that's 6 of us, and then like 2 like family friends in like a 1-bedroom flat in like near Elephant and Castle or Streatham or something like that. But I never ever felt poor. I never ever felt like I didn't have what I needed, and I was and will always be like a family man. So for me, having family was like, oh my days, like that was like the biggest thing. And having a big family, in the sense that there were 5 or 6 of us, was like for me like a mad blessing. I used to tell my mum like, go out, do this, do that, like trying to gas her to do something apart from like looking after us. Or like I was always kind of, I wanted like another person, like I wanted other family to be there. And, you know, as a kid, you just want people around and whatever. And she was like, no, you lot are my family. Like, I don't need a man. You're like my man kind of thing. Like so that was for me, my family was the first community. And it will always be like my number one community kind of thing. The way it shaped me at primary school, like being the eldest, I'd have to tell my siblings like, oh, when the social worker comes, you have to say this kind of thing, like just being prepped kind of thing, which is not what you should be doing at that age, but it is what it is. Like I think it does better for you in the long term. It's not what you want, but you have to think about it positively. So when I went into secondary school, I'm the first one to go in. Funnily enough, my mum was like, she was like, even to this day, she was like, I used to look for a secondary school for you from when you was in year 4. So like, yeah, she thought she sent us to a really good secondary school because it was a Church of England school. So my mum thought Church of England meant I'm taking. He's going to like I don't know.
The army. Kind
Yeah,
of.
like or like a monastery or
Yeah.
something. But
You're gonna come out godly, man.
honestly, but I remember going in year 7. We had our own police officer. I watched one of the episodes of After Work before coming here, but it resonated with me 100%. Like in secondary school, for you to be relevant, you had to have one of the following. Yeah, you had to be the strongest person or very strong. You had to be so sick at football, like 100%. You're a baller. You had to be able to move to girls, and like have a relationship with girls, or you had to be the class clown. Those are the 4 like options.
Which one were you?
All 4 cars.
No,
That
not
was
even,
all
not
4.
even. So I tried to be like some of them, but I couldn't. Like, it just wasn't me. So secondary school for me, like looking back now, at the time I loved it. And to be honest, if I could go back to one moment in my life, it would be secondary school because I'd love to do that again. But secondary school for me, I was like very lost. I was trying to be some like footballer and I was dead at football. I was trying to you know have some be a ladies man, be a class clown, but I wasn't any of those. I was trying to be like an OG, like in the ends, but I wasn't that either. Like so it was just like a moment of trying to find yourself and trying to be who you really are. And for me, it was funny because like being smart wasn't cool, really. Really, like if you really look at it, being smart just wasn't cool. But I wouldn't say I was smart, but I was like, I knew I didn't have to be any of those other things.
So we kind of touched on secondary school. We've touched on primary school. Let's talk about your time at university, man.
Went into King's first week. So I studied religion, philosophy and ethics. First week, realised I absolutely hated the degree. So my degree was supposed to be a 3-year degree. I ended up spending 6 years doing my degree. Basically, I got unwell in my 3rd year. Like, it was mad, like, the way things happened. But I got unwell my 3rd year, and I kept getting unwell every time I deferred. I thought I was cursed or something. But, yeah, like, I really enjoyed uni. I've made, like, friends for life. Like, I don't even call them friends, really. Like, it's a bit weird to call them friends. Life-changing experiences. Best moments of my life were at uni. But also some of the worst were at uni as well. So, yeah.
What were some of those best moments? Was that
Mad.
you about to ask, right?
Okay, let's get comfortable. Best moments. One of the best moments for me was actually, again, I believe in fate 100%. If I had graduated in the first 3 years, I would have left having not contributed to any society, having met only a handful of people. And yeah, I would have just not really got the experience out of it. But in the second set of 3 years that I had to basically do, I went to, so me and my friends, shout out Connor, shout out the man them that we went to Calais with. The migrant crisis was kind of like fresh at that time. This was the first year I had deferred because of illness. And the opportunity came to go to Calais to help in the jungle. And Connor had already been, or his dad had been, and he knew a charity there. So he hooked us up. We essentially rented out a car. Shout out Zach. He got the family car as the second car, like proper 7-seater Vauxhall Somali. Like, do you know what I mean? It was mad. And like 11 of us booked our tickets on a ferry, every single person donated a set of clothes. We gave away Harachis, we gave away Tim's. I swear down, I'm not even joking. We gave away like all
the swag.
Yeah, basically. But blessing, like it was proper blessed, man. And all donated as much as we could. And we went to Calais.
I've got a question based off your experiences in France and in Jordan. So one of the questions Saadadeen asked at the beginning was about community. And I had a lecture on the global refugee crisis a few weeks ago, and it talked about how a kind of a community is created amongst the refugees who live there because they're there for so long, they're there for years, and therefore it's kind of logical. It makes sense that communities and little towns and kind of little units of communities emerge. What was that like? What kind of communities did you see? I'm sure there was a lot of inspiration to take away from your time there, not 100%. Just the stress and stuff.
100%. Like, you hit the nail on the head. So again, amazing questions. So from Calais, for example, I promise you, like, I'll show you the video afterwards. We went at a time where, like, you were like ankle deep in mud and water and sewage, dirty. Like, it was so bad. Like, in Jordan, you could see stray cats. In Calais, no animal wanted to be around where we were at, but humans were living there. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's messed up. But these people, I swear to you, we came in, a Sudanese family opened a door. They were asking us to come in for tea. Same with an Afghan family. Same with a Syrian family. Like, they had nothing, bro. Like, they had nothing at all. And they were giving us everything they had. People were telling them, oh, you're here to take our benefits, to take our jobs. No one's going to go to Calais, lose family members on the way for what, £60 a week? Come on. Like, that's not. And these people are giving us everything.
What are the things that you've taken away from your time in the world of work?
Self-validation. I think for a long time, before civil service, I think it's prevalent in a lot of people from ethnic backgrounds, from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. We seek validation from a lot of people. We should be self-validating. We should be secure and happy with ourselves, but we're not a lot of the time. And a colleague of mine told me, shout out Daniel, like when this person, I'm not going to say the person's name or whatever, or like the person's color, but usually if a Caucasian, middle class, well-educated person stands up in a presentation and says whatever comes out of his mouth and leaves, he never asks, like, how did you think I did? Hope that went well, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're self-assured that they done well. When sometimes I finish, how do you think it went? Like, was it okay? Like, we need that self-validation. We need to know, like, that's not to say don't be humble. That's not to say don't look to improve, but self-validate. Don't look for other people to validate you.
What kind of things do you want to be doing more of in the future, Mohamed?
I want to be continually inspired, but I also want to inspire at some point. So in the future, my end goal, like proper end goal, like God willing, is to essentially work with countries that aren't doing so great at the moment, but have potential to do so in the future, and work with them, consult with them on how they use their money, how they use their resources, and build countries that are looked upon as third world countries. Help those countries basically build and rebuild, wherever that may be. And I got shout-outs because I think it's important to celebrate and important to like shout out people who've inspired you, people who've brought you on a journey. Shout out Saadadeen, shout out Sulaiman, obviously, first and foremost. And then shout out my mum, 100%. Like, she's the Don Dada. Shout out my family. Shout out Yahya. Shout out Kay. Shout out Sarah. Shout out Mudge. Shout out Omar. Shout out Daniel ×2. Shout out Ismail. Shout out the whole Strand elders group. Shout out Juliana, Abs. Shout out all the sisters from Strand. Shout out at work. Shout out Fizza. Shout out Sarah. This might be a long shout out, Shout out Katalia. Shout out Daniel. Shout out Hugh. Shout out Marsha. Shout out Sam. Shout out Gwyneth. Shout out Jonas Palendi. Shout out Sarah Jackson. Shout out Elena. Shout out all the mandem, like, for real. Shout out everyone. Honestly, like, Shout outs, blessings, everything.
Shout out you, bro.
Shout
No,
out,
no, not
Mohamed
even,
Al
not even.
Bakr.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you,
on, man.
thank you,
Thank you
man.
for coming through, man.
Thank you, man. Honestly,
My
pleasure
brother.
is all mine.
That is it for this week. To keep in touch, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. That's afterwork_UK on Instagram and Twitter, and Afterwork Podcast everywhere else.
If you took even one thing away from this episode, give us a review on Apple Podcasts and comment on our YouTube video. Any thoughts or suggestions for future episodes, DM us on our socials or shoot us an email at afterwork258@gmail.com. In any case, see you same time, same place next week.